citizen comment period. I think, is it Brooke, but we'll have, is that your name, Brooke?
Yeah.
But we'll hold her comments until no more May, is that correct?
So close it right away.
Yeah.
7:01, so no.
Yep, so we'll close it. No citizens are present. Item A, unfinished business, review of articles for City of Franklin newsletter. I think last meeting we had talked, is it the September one? We'll have the Buckthorn survey. Is there any more update or news on that item?
That's correct. The Buckthorn survey will be in the upcoming newsletter, mostly just a link to the survey, and then the results are posted online already. So they should be available. And the results are posted online already. So they should be available for the publics already, but that'll call the attention to it since people did ask about follow-up, so.
Okay. And then next, I think, would be the December, so we've got some time to think about articles for that.
Newsletter, I can inquire just so we are clear about when it is.
But a few months down the road.
Yep.
Okay. And item B, comment, oh, I
forgot to
skipped
approve.
approval of the minutes, sorry. Let's go back to that. Approval of the minutes from our July 27th meeting. Or any comments? I'm okay with it.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, Tom, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, James. All in favor? Second?
Second.
Thank you, James. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, minutes are approved. Okay, now we'll pop down to the common council referral on No Mo May and a recommendation back to come. And we have Brooke from the Ware.
And would you like me to be like officially up here, or how would you like me
You can sit down and.
Please
hang
hear.
out.
Yeah, there's a
Oh,
microphone here.
fabulous, thank you. Awesome.
Thank you for coming back this month.
Oh, absolutely, my pleasure. So, I don't know what you all know about No Mo May. So I don't know exactly what you're looking for. I can kind of go over a little bit of the history of No Mo May.
Could I interrupt you for a minute? Could you
Yeah.
say your name and
No Mo May.
could I interrupt you for a minute? Could you
Yeah.
say your name and what your position or title is?
Oh, absolutely. My name is Brooke Gilly. I'm one of the naturalists at Ware Nature Center, located in Franklin, Wisconsin, and Whitnall Park. So I'm with the Milwaukee County Parks.
Thank you.
Thank you. I've never been. So No Mo May became, or it started in Appleton, Wisconsin, and it has since taken off. There is a gentleman by the name of Dr. Israel Del Toro, and he is with Lawrence University, and I'm not sure about his background, but he worked very closely with an older person in order to get No Mo May off the ground, I believe in 2020. So it is a very new thing within the state of Wisconsin, but since then other cities and other states have state of Wisconsin, but since then other cities and other states have adopted the program. Or I don't know if you want to call it a program or a movement. So basically the premise behind it is Dr. Israel Del Toro saw Europe. So it is something that the Europeans, I think primarily Britain, has integrated into society and trying to help their pollinators there. And I'm here to kind of into both sides of No Mo May. So while Dr. Israel's information that recently came out, there have been studies of how pollinators, in particular native bees, have increased within the areas, or rather where the within the areas, or rather where the participants of No Mow May have not mowed their lawn, diversity has actually increased. However, there is a darker side to No Mow May. A darker side to No Mow May. Because many of the plants that are listed in that study are technically non-native. So it'd be the clover, it'd be the creeping Charlie that we all love to hate. Dandelions, even though some of these species have been with you many years, many of them are non-native. So yes, it's beneficial for honeybees, but we actually have 400 to 500 native bees within the state of Wisconsin that are in more need of awareness than the honey endangered species because they are non-native. They're what we call naturalized. They've been here since the 1600s, so they are been in the United States for about 400 years. So that's a long time. So two ladies, actually three ladies, two of them are rather well known. I'm not sure on the third. Heather Holm, who has written many books regarding native bees, wasps, and other pollinators, and this is one of her books, as well as one of the co-authors of Bumblebees of North America, Sheila Kola. I've had conversations with them, and they said that No Mow May is really not the solution to helping our native bees because so many of them are non-native that we have within our landscape. The reason being is culvers on a regular basis. Is that fast food really, really good for you? No. So the thing is, those flowers, the non-native flowers such as the creeping Charlie, the dandelion, the clover, those are kind of like the bee's way of getting carry out or fast food. It really doesn't provide as much nutritional value for the bees as we would like, and they believe it might be impacting their ability to reproduce. Because bees need one main thing from the flowers, and that is pollen, which is really absolutely necessary for reproduction for them. That's what they feed their offspring. So there's good sides and there's bad sides, and I want to promote, No Mow May is very much kind of like a catchphrase, and it sounds very appealing about saving the bees, but there is a darker side to it. So I just wanted to present.
So it
both sides.
sounds like your normal, bluegrass, whatever, your turf grass, your turf grass isn't going to help. If it grows an extra 6 inches, it's not going to help the bees.
No, grass is wind pollinated, so
Yeah.
there are no insects that pollinate grass.
So my point is if you're not going to mow the grass, it's not really helping,
Doesn't
right?
do anything.
No, it's mainly the flowers that are in the grass that they're really saying that are going to help the bees, but
So
it's
if you have like milkweed or something,
Yeah,
like a
if you-
pollinating plant, that would help the bees.
yeah, if you want to promote more planting natives, I sent you information on Bee City if you want to look into Bee City requirements, because we have Bird City, we have Tree City, there's Bee City requirements. I'm not sure what those requirements would be in order for Franklin to be a quote-unquote Bee City, but that'd be something that you could look into. I'm not sure, but I think Xerces Society for Invertebrate Conservation might have something too.
You can just reach out to Greenfield or Bee City.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Would you think it would almost be better for us to say instead of turf grass, we would rather you have a natural landscape?
Yes.
Would probably be a better option than even No Mow May. Like if we really
Yes.
wanted to be beneficial.
Yeah, I would say that because a lot of people who also are talking about No Mow May, I've seen some different things on Facebook like, oh, the grass is going to get so long that, you need a hay baler. or there's at least deer ticks and more mosquito activity, potentially. And I can see that being a potential issue for families, that they might not be into the whole Mow-May thing because of that. But if you were like, hey, if you could, plant a few native plants here and there, in order to help the bees, that'd be great. You don't have to convert your whole entire yard, because some people have the negative connotation of native plants equals messy looking. Yeah.
So, I guess I just want to comment, like, is there any more slogans that you guys thought of? So, I guess I just want to comment, like, is there any more slogans that you guys thought of besides No Mow-May, like, be alive? I don't know, like, I'm just trying to think of
Trademark that.
Be alive.
Like, another slogan that, we need to go back to the common council with recommendations, so,
I think looking into Bee City, I think looking into Bee City and what the parameters would be in order to be a Bee City would be a good thing. I personally did not create the catchphrase, No Mow-May. That's something that had been in Europe and in Appleton decided to use too. But I do like I would not use Save the Bees though, because
yeah, right.
Alderman Nelson?
Just a couple follow-ups. First of all, thank you for educating me. I had no really idea what this is. If there was a parameter on this, if we were to move forward, what type of time frame parameter for this no mow? And I appreciate the dark side, but if there was a time frame, when would it be to allow this?
if you're looking to promote it among the citizens,
Is it just like the month of May period, or is it more, is it a 6-week period? Is it just like the month of May period, or is it more, is it a 6-week period, or?
it's just the month of May that they're asking, because this is the May is usually the time where you're going to see native bees, and native bees have a very different life. So native bees, they might be ground nesters, they might be within the United States, 70% of our native bees are ground nesters. They also use plant stems, like your leaf cutter bees and mason bees usually use hollow plant stems. So the females, bumblebees do have queens, which we do have rusty patch bumblebees in the area too, federally endangered species. We have a whole bunch at Ware Nature Center. So basically, the female native bees are coming out at this. Basically, the female native bees are coming out at this time because they are trying to get as much nectar and pollen in order to provision their hives, or not their hives, their colonies, or not their colonies because they don't build one, their nest. So that's what those two things that a lot of the native plants are not quite in bloom yet, so the only things that they might have available to them, especially within our urban landscape, are the creeping Charlie, are the dandelions. Those are some of our earlier flowering plants, and that's where they're going to go.
And I have my personal, I'm kind of a yard freak, so I keep myself like real.
Yeah, I hear you on that.
And so do my neighbors, and so I've had feedback on that. So I was just kind of wondering, maybe that is another avenue to go down, not the No Mow-May, but something else that could benefit, not the No Mow-May, but something else that could benefit bees as a whole. I don't know, I guess it's, so.
Sandy's gave us a letter that said it's really only from the 15th to the 31st that we would have to take complaints and have the weed man, or right?
The weed commissioner.
Go out and cut grass or anything like that. So when I think of it, like if it's not necessarily beneficial and we already have 15 days where people don't have to mow their lawn, and then there's another 15 days that if you don't mow your lawn and somebody complains, then it has to be taken care of. I'm not sure.
I personally wouldn't bother. I know
Yeah.
there's that are doing it
Yeah.
because it's quote unquote sexy, but there's not enough studies that have been done to actually support that it is productive.
Is there anything else somebody could plant on their property? Because the natural or native plants aren't going to be in block bloom yet, the property, because the natural or native plants aren't going to be in block bloom yet. So is there another way that people could feed the bees if the natives aren't blooming yet?
Well, there are a lot of trees very important for native bees right in the beginning, because that's usually our earliest flowering plants besides the spring ephemerals that you find in, just say, the woods. So any native plants or native tree species, not a landscape person. I do have a file that I'm bad that I didn't bring it with me. I do have a printout of plants that you can plant for rusty patch bumblebees, which will in turn help other pollinators. Feed the bees, like 100 plants for bees, that is put out by the Xerces Society for Invertebrate Conservation. I think we actually have one at Ware in our nature store. Jim, if you want. So that has a list of different tree species that would be good. Like serviceberry, I think would probably be a good one. Any of your viburnums, native viburnums would be good. I'm just trying to think of different species that would be good.
I just looked it up. They have like red maple.
Good.
I just looked it up. They have like red maple, black cherry, sea willows, dogwood. Well, dogwood is kind of.
So this might be something where we talk to our forester, and that's maybe the options we start to offer at Arbor Day.
Yeah, your forester would be excellent through our natural areas department. And I sorry if I'm stirring the pot here, but our natural areas manager through Milwaukee County Parks, they're starting to integrate more trees that when they're doing planting that are more climate change resistant, because we're starting to see more. Well, and eventually they're planting for that. So things like redbud like eastern redbud are really fantastic. That's in the pea family. I know with street trees, at least for the city of South Milwaukee where I live, it is always for the street people an issue with as far as messiness on the roads. So I don't know, when talking with your forester.
We remove them.
Yeah, eastern redbud is a really good one. It creeps first and then gets leaves later. It's gorgeous. It's a smaller tree. It doesn't get any higher than 20 feet, and I think around 20 feet, and it's great for bees. So any native flowering tree would be great. There's some gray area with the different maples, because not all of, like Norway maple is not a native. Sugar maple is,
We only do sugars and reds.
yeah.
Tom would probably know too.
Yeah, I have it. I said talk to Tom about.
Probably know too.
Yeah, I have it. I said talk to Tom about trees for bees that could be offered during
Yeah.
Arbor Day.
And I mean, just because I'm coming here today doesn't mean it's a one and done. I'm happy to work with you all on any other things that you might come up in the future, or if you want to get a better. You don't have I do have a PDF copy of the Rusty Patch Bumblebee forage that they recommend, so I can send that to you.
One observation I had, it's not a question, would be there is no threshold, seems like, how much we can allow it to grow. You know, in the study from Professor Del Toro, you can see some of them increased the population density by 10 times almost, you know, whereas 5 in the mode area, if there was 5 in the non area, if there was 5 in the no-mo, it was like 95 or something.
Yeah.
So if everyone started doing, let's say if this theory was true, would there be a astronomical increase in the population, which we may then have to do a countermeasure to control it?
Because as far as controlling the number of bee species, I don't think that would ever be an issue because native bees have, at least native bees, especially most of our native bees are solitary bees. So at one time, and then its life cycle ends. It's already laid its eggs, and then you have the next species come out. That would be kind of like the thing. And in April, basically, or I should say May, they're just kind of starting out. The solitary bees, there's many species that are actually species specific. Like there is a trout lily mining bee. There is a goldenrod mining bee. So there are native solitary bees that can be very plant specific, and native solitary bees that can be very plant specific. And then when that plant is no longer there, it's not present, those bees will not be present. So they're not anything to really worry about if you have more species in an area. You really have to worry. Females, yeah, they can sting, but they're not going to. I've never really been stung by a native bee. I have been stung by a bumblebee, but that's because I sat on one on accident, and the other time I stepped on one on accident. And their stingers are actually not barbed, so it's not going to, which is barbed. So because these native solitary bees don't really need to defend a colony, they're not going to be quite as
Aggressive.
I loathe to use this word, but aggressive, because native bees can be very protective. But aggressive, because native bees can be very protective of. I'm sorry, honeybees can be very protective of their colony, and I work with honeybees. I'm a beekeeper, and they can be very possessive and very wanting to protect. So I'm never going to be an issue. Now, the thing is, there's also a lot of public education that needs to happen about the difference between wasps and bees, because everything that stings to a person is a bee. And usually, the problem, we have jelly for the Orioles. The wasps are out. And they want that sugar, they're coming out in full force to get the food that they need in order to overwinter. So there needs to be some education So there needs to be some education on what the difference is between wasps, which also can be pollinators, and your native bee species. Because, like I said, anything that stings is a bee.
I just have one more question.
Yeah.
We talked about climate change. Do we expect the bees to be coming out later if the climate continues to change, or do we expect them to be coming out sooner?
It depends how floral resources are affected, because they're going to time their emergence, whatever, when are there for them.
Okay, so So if we have a late frost, let's say end of April, and we are not going to get flowers or anything probably till late May because of the frost. It probably killed a good amount of that. So they won't emerge then till later May.
Most likely, yes.
Okay, so they're very responsive to whatever
Yeah.
the May.
Most likely, yes.
Okay, so they're very responsive to whatever
Yeah.
the flora.
And I should mention too, because I am nowhere near, I am not a professional entomologist, and I'm just going to put that out there. There is, as far as native bees, yes, there's books out there, but they are not very well researched, because there's a lot of money allocated to research for honeybees, which are essentially livestock. So we're getting better about researching because the rusty patch bumblebee is federally endangered in states to have them. More information or more research is being conducted on the behalf of our 20 different species that we have in the state of Wisconsin, of bumblebees alone, 20 different ones. But as far as the rest of the native bees, we're getting better. But as far as the rest of the native bees, we're getting better, but it's still not nearly as researched as honeybees are. I know, it's a lot. Any other questions?
Do you have any resources, information that we could put in on our webpage as far as helping to educate folks on the bees, wasps, or any of this other?
So, I'm trying to think about the best avenue to do this because I don't want to overwhelm people.
Do you have like almost like a meme? Is it a bee or is it a wasp, right? Like, where you just have two things and it's like the wasp is like, oh, wasp. You know, it's like something very quick and visual that like you can just put on and they're side by side. People like small bits of information if you give them too much.
Yeah, and I can do that. There's stuff that's out there.
If it's black, flush it down.
I
Yeah,
can,
maybe if it's brown,
and we're, I know that
If it's
there's
mellow,
a
it's mellow.
place in Michigan. It's called Bees in the D, and they did one about difference between honeybees and wasps like last year,
Okay.
and I could probably find that. And
Yeah, and I don't need an answer immediately, but if you do find some information, you could get it to Marion, and she could get it to us, and we can,
Yeah.
information, you could get it to Marion, and she could get it to us, and we can
Yeah.
perhaps help with
yeah,
And
with
then-
educating a bit, and even pointing, I don't know if where, do they have a website that has a lot of information already? We can maybe just link to that.
well, I
or-
will mention too that I have offered I created a native bee programs to plant. So I would be happy to present that in any format. I've done the program 3 times now this year. So I would offer that like free of charge to, get the word out. So I am happy to talk about that on any platform. But yeah, I can give you guys some information.
Do you have that recorded by chance?
I don't.
Okay.
But that might be one of our speeches we can do next spring, right before we do like Arbor Day.
Yeah.
Because then we can have that lead up where we're like, nope, these are the plants like Arbor Day.
Yeah.
Because then we can have that lead up where we're like, nope, these are the plants we're offering this year because X, Y, Z.
And
Which might be nice.
if you would have like say a date ahead of time,
Oh, we would give
I could put that in my Google Calendar and be like, I'm working this day from this time to this time, and I'm going to be here.
like probably by December we would.
Okay,
You know what I
that'd be
mean?
great.
Like it takes a minute to have that all.
But yeah, we've had a few presentations that we've sponsored and had them at the library, different speakers on different topics.
Yeah, I just
and-
did a native bee one on for the Franklin Library,
Oh, okay.
and I forget the name of the lady that I worked with.
Probably that.
I'm blanking.
Because they have their whole summer series.
Yeah.
But, yeah, or if they're gonna be repeating it, I don't know.
Piggy Bigfoot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Piggy Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I have it written down.
And then, and if you uncover any other resources that you think might be informative and not too lengthy,
Yeah.
we could try and put some of that out on our
Yeah.
web.
Madam Chairman, if I could. Brooke, I just want to compliment you and the other members of the staff over there at Ware. I appreciate all the stuff you're doing. I wish I could get over there more often than I do. My wife doesn't think so, but, we're still together. But there's so many things that you folks take on, I know where other people are trying to help you.
Yeah.
And we will continue to if we can. I happen to have started doing a bloom chart for my own garden. A couple of years ago, and I'll do some research on what blooms early, and
Yeah.
we'll bring that to the commission here for possible inclusion, and I'll be happy to contact Bee City USA.
Bird City, Butterfly City.
One at a time, please, one at a time. But, yeah, thank you for your patience and for being here again today.
And I will dig for what I have because I have a lot of resources, but I will make it bite-sized.
We appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Do I need to turn this off anywhere?
I think Marion has that.
You have the power. Look at it.
See, Marion does, we know it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. I know I have your email and I have your.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. I know I have your email and I have your business card, and I'm just going to take a picture of this because I know, but I forgot your.
Recommendations for
I
coming?
Yes, do we,
I just put discussion only.
do we want to come up with a recommendation? Do endorse no mow May or?
My recommendation, council member would not endorse no mow May, and come up with a different slogan, a different program for.
Other thought?
I agree with not be on the side of no more May.
Being the bird man, I'm not inclined to support it, in kind of the broader sense. I think alternatives that people could take if they want to do more natural landscaping or other things that would enhance, wildlife's opportunities in late spring, early summer. But to do a blanket, just let it go for the whole month of May. Just let it go for the whole month of May. I've seen what it looks like right in my own street, and it's not pretty.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, I can make a motion. It's fine.
Can I finish writing it first?
Yeah, that's fine. Let me know when you're ready.
When you have the motion written.
Should I add in there we will concert bee or species conservation and landscaping or other methods? Would that be okay?
I think that would be appropriate to include, if there's materials that the commission wants to include with the council action sheet, like the research that's been reviewed, or some of the commentary.
Like these two papers?
Yeah, there's these two, and then I believe there's a couple others that have been circulated in prior packets, so.
It would be great to have that young lady come to the council meeting when this comes
Yeah.
as an item, because she educated me today of the dark side, and
Sure.
I'm getting stuck on a word for species. Here, I'll just read what I have and you can think of it. So, recommendation: at this time, the commission does not recommend moving forward with no mow May. At a later date, we will make recommendations on landscaping mow May. At a later date, we will make recommendations on landscaping for species diversity and
Preservation.
thank you, preservation. Is that your motion?
That's-
Is that your motion?
That's my motion.
Okay, thank you.
I second it.
Is there a second?
I second.
Sharma,
Ooh, there you go. Do you guys want to fight? Sharma seconded. Do you want to roll call?
Sure, roll call.
Chair Horn.
Yes. Aye. Yes.
Yes. Alderman Nelson.
aye.
Commissioner Nemec.
yes.
And then Commissioner Sharma.
Yes.
Okay. Motion carries. I'll keep something on the agenda that we can, if we get information on the city or other. Okay, item C, any wrap-up feedback on our involvement in Franklin National Night Out? It was a beautiful night, yep. We gave away a garden, right?
Yes, we did.
Plantings?
Or we're trying to. Some people in the city not helping much.
There is some confusion about which line it's supposed to come out of in the budget, so I'm still waiting to get an actual check cut. But I think, did you produce an invoice with them, or are you waiting on the, did you produce an invoice with them, or are you waiting on the tax?
Well, you know, if you wanted to go in the city of Franklin's name, they'd like, you know, your tax exempt
Okay.
number.
I wasn't sure where we left.
Otherwise, I mean, I was waiting to hear back, but we can just bill Marion at the city of Franklin.
But, yeah, you do need the tax exemption information, which I'm not sure when we haven't been able to get that for you. So.
Neither the spring or fall recipients could get their gardens until spring of next year anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're both fine with that.
Okay.
Okay, any other thoughts on Night Out? Okay. We'll do it again next year, I think. We'll do it again next year, I think. We talked about, what was it, the health department had a nice apron on their table,
I brought it. I brought a tablecloth.
but did it say Environmental Commission?
No, it had flowers on it. It was yellow. You can make one.
Yep. We'll see if we get a budget. We can buy one maybe. Okay, item D, Environmental Commission participation in the City of Franklin Unified Development Ordinance Task Force.
Yep, so that meet is on track for the Plan Commission meeting. That meeting starts at 7 o'clock in these chambers. Of course, the Coal Commission is welcome to come, but your representatives are Commissioner Burr and Sharma. We will be distributing a packet to the task force. That typically happens the week before the meeting. We'll be distributing a packet to the task force. That typically happens the week before the meeting, so it'll be next week at some point. And then those packets get published on the Plan Commission portion of the website, so if other folks want to review it in advance, it'll be there usually by Friday. And then just to kind of make sure, because that is the currently scheduled time, if there's any change to that, it's actually kind of a pretty big agenda, so I might move it.
Or make it early.
Make it later or something, so. But we tried to keep it just the UDO, and it ended up being 10 things on the agenda, so, sorry. But that's the update for now.
Okay, thank you. Item E, funding for Environmental Commission activities.
I do not have an update on this at this time. I will let you know when there's more information available about the proposed budget.
Okay, still pending.
Information available about the proposed budget.
Okay, still pending. And any update on Buckthorn Subcommittee activity?
No.
Nope, okay. All right, new business. Okay, we're giving it one last chance, the request to participate in Solar Group 5 program.
So I reached out again to the nonprofit that I had communicated with and did not hear back, so I apologize, but I don't have more information.
All right, so we'll let it drop maybe?
Yep, if it comes back.
On that was, I talked to a guy that actually installs them, and the solar panels actually last, there was a rumor that at the last meeting they said 10 years, but they'll last 30 years before you have to replace them. So, but you do need, someone will have to, there'll need to be a company that actually dispose of them, because they're not, you just can't take them to the dump. Everybody.
Okay. There was, I'm on Focus on Energy's email list, and they're email this week or this month was talking about tips for going solar in 2022. So you know, if your house is a good candidate for solar and things like that. So, and that Focus on Energy is funded by all the state utilities. So there are resources there if folks have a keen interest. You can get some assistance with contractors and whether or not it's appropriate. So that's another opportunity for folks. Okay. Item B, future cleanup event with Rick Pike Win. Okay. Item B, future cleanup event with Rick Pike Win or other organizations. Do we know of anything going on we want to talk about?
I'm not aware of any new events, but the Root Pike Wind did provide an update to me and to the Department of Public Works about their work here in Franklin, and it seems like they're pretty happy with the work that they've done with everyone. So, with the Buckthorn cleanup and other like watershed management projects have gone well. So, if others have other updates, that'd be great.
As far, I've been on their list, and Root Pike Win, I understood, wanted to do some kind of a cleanup event with the high schools. We're not going to want to do it right away. If they want to do it involving Buckthorn, they're probably going to want to do it in October when it's easier to identify what you want to clean out. But I'll be happy to check with them if you are concerned.
No, I thought, we just had this, that if one of us, I guess, hears of something,
Yeah.
we can share the information, make sure others are aware. I guess kind of sort of related. I got an email today from this Milwaukee Area Land Conservancy.
Yep.
They are having muffins at Bloom Coffee Garden on September 24th. Do folks want to know about that? I can forward it to Marion. I presume it's come in and chat and hear what they're doing.
Yeah, it's probably each other. I would love to go, it's just, I don't know. If there's volleyball or football or.
Right. September 24th, 9 a.m. to 11:30. So I'm guessing it's a Saturday.
Yeah, it is.
But-
Football game. Come on, come downstairs and watch that.
But they've got some land around the city of Franklin here that they are trying to keep native. Okay, item C, creation of citizen volunteer support group to assist in invasive control projects. Park and municipal property. I think we had some discussion that there was, what was it, Friends of Franklin Parks or something at one time. Do we ever get any history information?
There was a cleanup effort during the week of the cleanup, and they were just kind of looking at a part in April or whenever it was. I have to remember, I've been gone for 2 months. Of the 27th, they're over there. Other than that, it's been kind of quiet. Other than maybe this morning, I saw somebody outside just picking up garbage on their own. But other than that, I haven't seen anything organized.
Okay. So
If I could add, I know I saw one of their emails since I'm on their list, and they were featuring the quote, new park with the water towers in it, and the fact that they will be, assisting in, removing invasives, and they'll be publicizing that when they're ready, I guess. But otherwise, everybody's schedule is up to them.
right. And we have been talking, keep this on, or,
I think I was the one who originally proposed it, and At this point, unless there is a project that I could recommend the group to begin with, I see no point to create a group without a mission for them, other than to be ready and, pull weeds and help Tom on Saturdays at Groupschmidt.
Yeah.
Wasn't there, didn't they just have an event? Would you have any event coming up
This Saturday.
this Saturday? So I thought, I was like, would you have any event coming up
This Saturday.
this Saturday? So I thought, I was like,
Yeah.
I got something. Do you want me to add that? Grocery Park, weed out Saturday.
By the time people see it.
Right.
it's
Most people will.
past.
What is the event?
So, we do a weed out.
What is the event?
So, we do a weed out 4 or 5 a year, and basically just try and get volunteers to come and help us. Maybe like beginning of the spring it was garlic mustard. Now it's buckthorn. So we basically we cut it and treat it.
And where are you doing this?
This is Groupschmidt Park,
Okay.
so northeast corner of Franklin.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, we started. It was a nonprofit. We started 2 years ago. So.
All right, so if we feel like,
I wouldn't remove the item, though. That's
Yep.
what I'm saying.
yep, I will do that. Item D, the stormwater outfall issue at Ware Nature Center.
I do not have an update on the status of this. I know it was funded by Common Council a month ago, with the idea of doing work in the fall, so.
Okay.
Do you know how much they're funding?
I don't recall, I apologize.
All right, and that brings to schedule the next meeting. We're on the agenda for September 28th, or on the calendar for September 28th. I will not be able to make it, so Jim could chair, or we could move it, or we could cancel it. Do we know if we have any NRSEs?
Madam Chairman, October 28th.
Oh.
And I don't think I should be here on the 20th. No, I'm kidding. I mean, if you really want to have it, if you're available, Alderman, I don't know. Because
I'm available on that day, but don't, I mean,
Yeah, I
Do
mean,
we have anything like pressing? We don't have anything
Yeah, no.
environmental coming through, do we?
There are no NRSE applications in the department.
Environmental coming through, do we?
There are no NRSE applications in the department at this time.
Holy cow.
We had a rush of that, and you will be seeing one related to a land division in the next year, but right now I'm not totally clear what the status of it is.
I don't think we're coming through either for a while.
No, with interest rates going up. Yeah.
Well,
so are we looking at then not having a meeting in September?
yeah, should we just come in?
Yeah.
Well, then we have to be careful because in November we have Thanksgiving.
So your
Yeah, we'll have
calendar,
Want to skip October 23?
hold on a second. Your calendar for November and December is you typically to combine those meetings, and you did that at the beginning of this calendar year, so it would be like the first
December
week of
7th.
December, correct.
Okay, maybe.
So we'd have October 26th would be our next.
So October 26th, you said, and December 7th?
Yes.
So your intention is to cancel the September meeting?
I'm okay with that.
Anyone opposed?
Unless there's a need that pops up.
It will not pop up.
Can I see my, I'm looking at my calendar because I have Zoom meetings I heard on.
Calendars are being reviewed.
The 27th is a Thursday, so we're talking 26th. Is that what we said?
October 26th.
Wednesday,
regular-
October 26th.
Yes.
That's your regularly scheduled October meeting.
And then
December 7th.
Probably like 10 minutes late. My Zoom meeting ends at 7.
Zoom, zoom, zoom. Okay, I think do we need a motion to cancel the meeting or no?
You set the agenda, Chair, so it's up to you.
No. September,
Chair, so it's up to you.
no. September 28th, meeting is canceled. Next meeting will be October 26th. Woo-hoo. All right, then I guess any other items folks want to discuss? If not, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll motion to adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Commissioner Sherman, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No.
What time is it?
Meeting adjourned, 7:50.